There will always be people who doubt you. They will tell you that your dreams are too big, that your goals are unrealistic, that you should be more practical. They'll look at your ambition and mistake it for arrogance. They'll whisper that you don't have what it takes, that you're not ready, that someone else is better suited for the job, and that's fine. Because every word of doubt, every subtle smirk, you can't, is fuel. Fuel that can either burn you down or propel you forward. The choice is yours. Doubt isn't your enemy, it's your invitation to rise. The truth is, no one who ever did something remarkable had everyone's approval at the start. The people who change the world are rarely the ones who were chosen or celebrated early on. They're the ones who kept showing up when nobody cared, the ones who believed in their vision when it made no sense to anyone else. Every time someone said, "You're not ready," they used that as a reminder that readiness isn't given, it's earned. And so they worked, they learned, they failed, and they grew. Not to silence their critics, but to honor their own potential. Proving them wrong isn't about anger. It's not about revenge. It's about quiet resolve, the kind that doesn't need to shout. It's about showing up every day, doing the work, pushing through the fear, and trusting that the process will pay off. It's about taking every ounce of negativity and turning it into momentum. When people doubt you, it's not about you. It's about their limitations. They can only see the world through the lens of what they've done, what they've achieved, and what they believe is possible. Don't let their vision define your future. There's a strange power in being underestimated. When no one expects you to win, you have nothing to lose. You're free to experiment, to take risks, to fail forward. The spotlight isn't on you yet, and that's an advantage. It gives you room to grow in the shadows, to build your skills quietly, to strengthen your foundation before the world starts watching. And when the time comes, when you finally step into the light, you'll be ready, not because someone told you to be, but because you earned it through relentless preparation. You see, success doesn't come from proving other people wrong. That might be where it starts, but it's not where it ends. At first, their disbelief motivates you. It gives you something to push against. But over time, you realize that the real competition isn't with them. It's with the version of yourself that wants to give up. You're not here to prove them wrong forever. You're here to prove yourself right, to prove that your instincts were right, that your belief was justified, that your purpose was worth the pain. There will be moments when you question everything, when you wonder if maybe they were right. When your energy runs low, your progress slows, and the results just don't show up fast enough. That's when it matters most, because that's the breaking point, the moment when most people stop. But if you push past that moment, if you refuse to quit, you'll find a second wind that changes everything. The ones who succeed aren't necessarily the most talented or the most connected. They're the ones who simply didn't stop when it got hard. Every no you hear is not a dead end, it's a detour. It's life's way of asking, how bad do you really want this? The universe tests us not to break us, but to reveal our strength. And those who keep going, even when the door slams in their face, eventually find another door. One that was meant for them all along. You can't skip the struggle. You can't avoid the doubt. You have to walk through it step by step until you come out the other side stronger, wiser, and hungrier than ever. People will talk. They always do. Some will doubt you. Some will envy you. Some will try to imitate you. None of it matters. What matters is that you keep your focus on your path. What matters is that you wake up every day and move an inch closer to the life you want. You don't need applause. You don't need validation. You just need momentum. Because once you start, and once you stay consistent, something incredible happens. The noise fades, and your results start to speak louder than anyone's opinion ever could. There's nothing more powerful than a person who's been counted out and keeps showing up anyway. The world doesn't know how to handle that kind of resilience. People who can't be discouraged, who turn every setback into strength, become unstoppable. And in time, the same people who doubted you will come back with questions, not criticism. They'll ask how you did it. They'll want your advice. They'll want to be part of the story they once dismissed. And you'll smile, not out of pride, but out of gratitude, because their disbelief helped you discover just how capable you really are. You don't have to announce your plans. You don't have to justify your dreams. Let your work be your response. Let your progress be your argument. Let your discipline be your declaration. Keep going when it's hard, when it's slow, when no one sees the effort you're putting in. Keep showing up. Because one day, the results will be undeniable, and the same people who doubted you will have no choice but to believe. And when that day comes, you'll realize you didn't just prove them wrong. You became someone who no longer needs to. There will always be people who doubt you. They will look at your dreams and laugh quietly, calling them impossible. They'll tell you to be realistic, to play it safe, to stop reaching so far. They'll measure your potential by their own limitations and confuse your confidence for arrogance. But what they fail to see is that the very thing they doubt in you, your relentless belief in something greater, is what separates you from them. Their disbelief is not a prediction of your failure, it's a reflection of their fear. Every time someone tells you that you can't, it's really them admitting that they wouldn't. And that's why your mission isn't to argue, explain, or justify. It's to build, to grow, to keep moving, and let your results speak the truth they can't yet see. In every story of greatness, there's a moment where someone was told to stop. Every innovator, every leader, every dreamer faced resistance from those who couldn't understand their vision. They were called foolish, stubborn, unrealistic, until the world caught up. Because the truth is, people don't doubt your potential out of malice. They doubt it out of comfort. They fear what your courage exposes in them. Your willingness to take risks reminds them of the chances they didn't take. And so they label your dream as not a goal because that's easier than admitting they gave up on theirs. You can't take it personally. You just have to keep walking the path they were too afraid to follow. Proving them wrong isn't about shouting louder or showing off. It's not about revenge, and it's not about validation. It's about a quiet, disciplined commitment to do the work when no one's watching. It's about waking up early when no one expects you to, about putting in the hours when others are resting, about believing in the process even when it doesn't show results right away. You're not fighting against them. You're fighting against the part of yourself that wants to give in to doubt, because the battle isn't external. It's internal. Every time you choose persistence over comfort, you get closer to the person you're meant to be. When they say you can't, they're really daring you to prove that you can. When they say it's impossible, they're handing you an opportunity to redefine what's possible. Doubt is a challenge disguised as a warning. And if you learn to see it that way, it becomes fuel. The greatest athletes, artists, and entrepreneurs in history didn't succeed because no one doubted them. They succeeded because they didn't let that doubt define them. They turned rejection into resilience, failure into feedback, and disbelief into determination. That's the mindset that changes everything, not waiting for permission, but creating proof. There will be nights when the silence feels heavy, when the progress feels invisible, when it seems like no one cares or notices the effort you're putting in. That's where most people quit. They think silence means failure, but silence is where greatness is built. Every skill, every breakthrough, every transformation happens in the dark before it shines in the light. The seed doesn't grow on the surface. It grows underground first. So don't mistake stillness for stagnation. The hard work you're doing now, the battles you're fighting quietly, are preparing you for the moment when your results will speak so loudly that no one can ignore them. You'll meet people who dismiss your progress, who act like your small wins mean nothing. They'll overlook your growth because it doesn't fit their timeline or their expectations. But understand this consistency compounds. Every single step you take adds up. Every effort you make builds a foundation that no critic can destroy. The same people who belittle your effort today will later call you lucky when they see where you've arrived. They won't see the nights you stayed late, the sacrifices you made, or the failures you endured. They'll just see the success. And that's fine. You don't need them to understand the process. You only need to stay loyal to it. The beauty of being underestimated is that you get to move without the pressure of expectation. You get to learn, to experiment, to fail privately. No one's watching closely enough to see your mistakes, and that's your advantage. You can take risks that others are too afraid to take because they're worried about how they'll look. You can grow without having to perform. And one day, when the time comes, your preparation will meet opportunity, and the world will wonder how you did it. They'll call it sudden success, but you'll know it was years of quiet persistence. There's a shift that happens when you stop needing to prove others wrong and start needing to prove yourself right. Because the real reward isn't in their validation, it's in your transformation. The goal isn't to win their approval, it's to build your character. It's to become someone who doesn't crumble under pressure, who doesn't give up when it gets hard, who doesn't need applause to keep going. The moment you realize you're capable of more than you imagined, that's when you've already proven everything that matters. You'll find that their doubt doesn't sting anymore. It starts to motivate you differently, not as something to fight against, but as something to rise above. People will always have opinions. They'll try to put you in a box to define who you are based on what they think they know. But no one else has lived your story. No one else knows your struggles, your sacrifices, your dreams. Their words don't define your potential. Your actions do. So keep acting, keep building, keep improving. Let your growth be so undeniable that it speaks louder than every doubt ever whispered about you. The people who once said, "You can't," will eventually ask how you did. And when that day comes, you'll realize something profound. It was never about them in the first place. It was never about their disbelief, their criticism, or their approval. It was always about you, your resilience, your discipline, your belief that something greater was possible. You didn't just prove them wrong, you proved that faith, hard work, and persistence are stronger than any limitation the world tries to put on you. You became the proof that every dream is possible, even when no one else believes in it. There will always be people who doubt you. They'll hear your ideas and politely nod, but deep down they don't believe you can pull it off. They'll call your ambition unrealistic, your plans too risky, your goals too far-fetched. They'll point out every obstacle, every flaw, every reason why it can't be done. They'll remind you of your past mistakes and question your future. It's not because they hate you. It's because they can't imagine what you see. They can't feel what you feel. They can't understand the vision that burns inside you. And that's fine because you don't need them to. Their disbelief is not your problem. It's your motivation. The truth is, being doubted is one of the greatest advantages you can have. When no one believes in you, you're free from expectation. You can work in silence. You can experiment. You can fail without judgment. Every time someone says, "You can't," what they really mean is, "I wouldn't." They're projecting their limits onto you. And that's where your strength lies, in knowing that your life doesn't have to fit inside someone else's imagination. You are not here to prove their comfort right. You're here to challenge it. You're here to step into the unknown and show what's possible when belief becomes action. Proving them wrong isn't about shouting louder or arguing harder. It's not about rubbing success in anyone's face. It's about doing the work that no one sees. It's about showing up every day, even when you don't feel like it. It's about trusting the process when the results are invisible. It's about having the courage to keep going when everything inside you says stop. The people who told you that you couldn't do it are watching, waiting for you to quit, expecting you to fail. But you won't, not because you're trying to spite them, but because you've made a promise to yourself. A promise to keep moving, no matter what. When you decide to chase something bigger than yourself, you'll notice how quickly people rush to doubt it. They'll call it impossible because they've never seen it done before. But everything that's ever been achieved, every invention, every movement, every masterpiece, started with someone who dared to ignore the word impossible. The world doesn't change when people agree with you. It changes when you do something they said couldn't be done. So don't waste your breath trying to convince others to see your vision. Use that energy to build it. When it's real, when it exists, they'll see it for themselves. The road will be long. There will be days when you feel invisible, when the grind wears you down, when the weight of it all feels too heavy. You'll question yourself. You'll replay their doubts in your mind and wonder if maybe they were right. But that's the test. That's the part that separates those who wish from those who do. The ones who make it through aren't the ones who never doubt. They're the ones who keep going in spite of it. Every setback, every rejection, every sleepless night, it all adds up. It all builds the foundation of resilience that can't be shaken by criticism or fear. People will underestimate your effort. They'll see the outcome one day and call it luck, but they won't see the hours you spent learning, failing, trying again. They won't see the times you worked in silence while others rested. They won't see the sacrifices you made, the patience you practiced, or the persistence you refused to lose. They'll just see the finished product and pretend it happened overnight. Let them. You don't owe them the story behind your success. The results will speak louder than you ever could. And those who doubted you will have to face the truth. You didn't need their belief to make it happen. Being underestimated gives you power. It gives you the element of surprise. While others waste time explaining themselves or waiting for approval, you're building. You're evolving. You're doing the work that others are afraid to do. Every day that you keep pushing forward is a day you widen the gap between who they think you are and who you're becoming. That gap becomes your strength, your proof, your evidence that you're not defined by opinion. You're defined by action. And one day, when they finally realize what you've accomplished, they won't be able to deny it. It's easy to want to prove people wrong out of anger, to let the sting of doubt drive you. But over time, you'll learn that the real power isn't in proving them wrong, it's in proving yourself right. Because at some point, the noise fades. The doubters go silent. And the only voice that remains is your own. That's the one you have to learn to trust. That's the one you have to strengthen. Every time you keep going when it's hard, you're teaching that voice to believe. You're teaching yourself that you're capable, that you're worthy, that you're enough. You'll find that success is quieter than you imagined. It doesn't announce itself with applause or approval. It shows up slowly, in confidence, in peace, in the sense of knowing that you stayed true to your purpose. It shows up in the realization that you didn't need validation to become who you are. You needed consistency. You needed courage. You needed faith in the face of fear. That's what real success looks like. It's not about standing above others. It's about standing firm within yourself, unshaken by doubt, unbothered by criticism, and unstoppable in your pursuit of growth. And as you keep moving forward, you'll start to see that their doubt was never the obstacle. It was the mirror. It showed you where you needed to grow stronger, where you needed to believe deeper, where you needed to let go of fear. Every time someone told you that you couldn't, they unknowingly gave you another reason to keep going. And every time you kept going, you became a little more resilient, a little more confident, a little more unstoppable. You don't need to silence them. You just need to keep becoming everything they said you couldn't be. There will always be people who look at you and decide, without truly knowing you, that you can't do it. They'll make judgments based on where you came from, what you've done, or how you look. They'll use your past to predict your future. They'll shake their heads when you talk about your dreams and quietly convince themselves that you'll never get there. And in those moments, it's easy to feel small, easy to question yourself, easy to wonder if they're right. But the truth is, their opinions have nothing to do with you. Their doubt is not your reflection. It's a projection of their own fear, their own insecurities, their own failure to imagine what's possible. The world is full of people who gave up too soon. They once had big ideas too, but somewhere along the way, someone told them no, and they believed it. They chose the safer path, the smaller dream, the quieter existence. So when they see someone like you, someone still trying, still hoping, still fighting, it unsettles them. Because your courage reminds them of what they lost. Your hunger exposes their comfort. They tell you it's not possible because that's what they told themselves years ago. And it's easier for them if you fail too. But you weren't born to repeat their story. You were born to write your own. Proving them wrong is not about shouting louder than your critics or fighting harder against them. It's about persistence, consistency, and unshakable belief. It's about taking every doubt, every rejection, every insult, and turning it into fuel. It's about showing up every day, even when no one claps for you, even when no one notices. Because what you're building, they can't see yet. They can't see the late nights, the sacrifices, the hours spent perfecting your craft. They can't see the moments of fear you fight through, the failures you turn into lessons, the growth happening beneath the surface. But one day they will. There's something powerful about being underestimated. When people count you out, they stop paying attention. And that's when you do your best work. In the shadows, without pressure, without expectations. You're free to experiment, to fail, to rebuild, to learn. You're free to grow quietly, away from the noise of comparison. The best victories are born from obscurity. Every great story begins when no one is watching. The people who eventually rise to greatness are the ones who embrace that hidden season. The grind, the work, the discipline that no one celebrates. When someone says you can't, they're not predicting your failure, they're revealing their limits. They're showing you the edge of their imagination, and your job is to push beyond it. Every breakthrough in history began with someone who refused to accept the limits others placed on them. The innovators, the leaders, the pioneers, they all faced laughter, rejection, and disbelief. They all heard no, more times than they can count. But what separates them is that they kept going anyway. They let the disbelief fuel them. They let the doubt sharpen them. They turned every closed door into a reason to build a new one. There will be nights when the silence feels heavy, when the effort feels endless, when it seems like nothing you're doing is working. Those are the moments when the temptation to quit is strongest. That's when the voice of doubt grows loudest, whispering the same words your critics once said. But it's in that moment, when you're tired, frustrated, uncertain, that you have to choose persistence over comfort. Because growth doesn't happen when things are easy. Growth happens when you push through the pain. Every struggle you face now is shaping the strength you'll need later. Every challenge is building your endurance. The path to success is never a straight line. It's filled with setbacks, detours, and disappointments. People will doubt you, circumstances will test you, and life will demand more from you than you think you have to give. But that's where transformation happens. In the moments when you're forced to dig deeper than you ever have before. The struggle refines you. It builds your resilience. It strips away the excuses, the ego, the hesitation. It leaves behind the version of you that's meant to lead, to inspire, to stand tall no matter how strong the wind blows. At some point, proving them wrong stops being about them and starts being about you. It's no longer about showing the world what you can do. It's about showing yourself what you're made of, because the real victory isn't external, it's internal. It's the realization that you can endure, that you can adapt, that you can overcome. It's the quiet confidence that grows when you survive things that were meant to break you. That's when you begin to understand that their doubt never had power over you. Your belief did. Every small win, every step forward, every act of persistence builds a foundation of self, trust that no one can take away. The people who doubted you will come back one day. They'll ask how you did it. They'll say they always knew you could. But you'll remember the silence, the smirks, the lack of support. And you won't need to remind them of it. You won't need to prove anything anymore, because by then, the proof will already exist in your growth, your progress, your results. You'll understand that your success was never about silencing them. It was about finding your own voice and refusing to let it go quiet. And as you look back, you'll realize that every no, every doubt, every ounce of disbelief was necessary. Without it, you might not have pushed as hard. Without it, you might not have built the resilience you now carry. Without it, you might not have discovered your true potential. Their doubt became your teacher. Their disbelief became your drive, and through it all, you became something they never expected. Unstoppable. There will always be people who tell you that you can't. They'll listen to your ideas, your goals, your plans, and they'll smile politely, all while quietly dismissing you in their minds. They'll see your passion and mistake it for naivety. They'll measure your potential by their own limitations and decide that your dream is impossible simply because it's bigger than anything they've ever dared to chase. They'll tell you to be practical, to lower your expectations, to play it safe. But what they don't understand is that the moment you decide to believe in yourself, their opinions lose their power. Their disbelief doesn't define you, it defines them. And sometimes, that disbelief is exactly what you need to ignite your determination. When people doubt you, they're not really talking about you. They're exposing the boundaries of their own mindset. They can't see what you see because they're trapped by their own fears and failures. They assume your path will mirror theirs, that you'll stumble where they stumbled, that you'll give up where they did. But you are not them. You are built differently. You have something they didn't, a relentless drive that won't let you settle for less. You don't need their permission to pursue what sets your soul on fire. You just need to start to move, to take the first step even when no one else believes in the destination. Proving them wrong is not about anger, and it's not about ego. It's about focus. It's about putting your head down and doing the work, even when no one's watching. It's about showing up for yourself every single day without fanfare, without applause. Because what you do in silence is what creates the noise later. You don't need to talk about what you're going to do, you just need to do it. Every early morning, every late night, every sacrifice you make when others are sleeping or doubting is an investment in your future. And while they're busy talking, you'll be busy building. There's power in being underestimated. When people don't expect much from you, you're free to surprise them. You're free to grow at your own pace, to make mistakes, to fail privately. You don't have the pressure of living up to their expectations because there aren't any. You can reinvent yourself as many times as you need to. Every setback becomes a rehearsal for your comeback. Every doubt thrown your way becomes a challenge you silently accept. You don't need to prove them wrong today. You just need to keep moving until your success makes their disbelief irrelevant. Every person who ever achieved something extraordinary began as someone who was told no. Every innovator, every creator, every leader, they all faced rejection, ridicule, and resistance. They were told their ideas wouldn't work, that they were wasting their time, that they should be more realistic. But they didn't listen. They didn't let the disbelief of others drown out the conviction inside them. They understood that being doubted is part of the process. They used it as fuel. They knew that the louder the doubt, the greater the potential reward. Because if everyone agrees with you from the start, you're probably not doing anything revolutionary. The truth is, you will fail. You'll make mistakes. You'll face rejection and moments of deep uncertainty. You'll question yourself more than once. You'll wonder if they were right about you. But those moments don't define you. Your response to them does. The people who make it to the top aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who refuse to stay down. They learn, they adapt, they keep showing up. They understand that persistence beats talent when talent stops trying. Every time you rise after failure, you strengthen the muscle that will carry you to success. There will be seasons where your progress feels invisible. You'll be working harder than ever, and yet nothing seems to move. You'll feel stuck, unseen, unrecognized. That's when most people quit. That's when doubt becomes loudest, both from others and from within. But that's also when you're growing the most. What's happening beneath the surface is what sets the stage for everything that will bloom later. Just because no one can see the results yet doesn't mean they aren't coming. Keep going even in the dark. Growth isn't always visible, but it's always happening. As you move forward, people will start to notice your progress. Slowly, their tone will change. Some will pretend they always believed in you. Others will stay silent, watching from a distance, trying to figure out how you did it. They'll never admit they doubted you, but you'll remember. You'll remember every word, every smirk, every moment you were underestimated. And you'll realize that you didn't need to respond to any of it. Your work did that for you. Success speaks in a language everyone understands. Eventually, you'll find that proving others wrong isn't the real reward. The real reward is proving yourself right. It's realizing that your belief was stronger than their doubt, that your effort was louder than their criticism, that your purpose was more powerful than their opinions. You'll look back and understand that every ounce of disbelief pushed you to become more focused, more disciplined, more resilient. You'll see that their doubt didn't stop you, it shaped you. It made you sharper, tougher, and more driven than you ever thought possible. And somewhere along the journey, you'll stop chasing their approval altogether. You'll stop caring about their opinions, their judgments, their limitations. You'll realize that what really matters is not proving them wrong, but becoming someone who no longer needs to. You'll understand that success isn't just about reaching a goal. It's about becoming the kind of person who never gives up, no matter how many times they're told they can't. And by the time they notice, by the time they finally see what you've become, it will be too late for their doubt to matter. There will always be people who look at you and decide that you're not capable. They'll see your ambition and call it unrealistic. They'll hear your dreams and quietly laugh. Not out of cruelty, but out of disbelief. They'll look at where you are now and assume that's all you'll ever be. They'll use your past as proof that you won't make it to your future. And when you tell them about your vision, they'll shake their heads and tell you to be more practical, to tone it down, to aim smaller. But you weren't born to play small. You weren't meant to shrink yourself to fit inside the limits of someone else's imagination. The very fact that they can't see it means you're thinking on a level they've never reached. It's easy to doubt someone who refuses to follow the crowd. The world is comfortable with ordinary. It understands predictable. But when you talk about breaking barriers, about doing things differently, about chasing something bigger than what people can see, you make others uncomfortable. They'll try to talk you out of it, not because they hate you, but because your courage exposes their fear. They see in you what they once had and lost. That fire, that hunger, that belief in something more. And instead of reigniting their own spark, they'll try to put out yours. That's how it's always been. Visionaries have always been doubted. The moment you decide to dream beyond the limits of what's accepted, you become a mirror reflecting back what others gave up on. Proving them wrong isn't about confrontation. It's not about shouting over their disbelief. It's not even about revenge. It's about action. Quiet, consistent, deliberate action. It's about showing up when you don't feel like it, about working when no one's watching, about trusting the process long before the results appear. It's the discipline of putting in the effort day after day, even when no one gives you credit, even when no one believes it will amount to anything. The people who said you couldn't do it will eventually see what persistence can create. But by the time they notice, it will already be done. There's something powerful about being doubted. It's one of the purest forms of motivation. Doubt strips away the comfort of external validation and forces you to find your own source of belief. It makes you dig deeper, work harder, think smarter. When no one believes in you, you learn to believe in yourself with a kind of strength that can't be shaken by anyone's opinion. Being doubted is a privilege in disguise. It gives you the space to grow without expectation. It gives you the freedom to fail, to learn, to rebuild. Because when no one is watching, you can make mistakes without fear of judgment. You can reinvent yourself quietly until the version that emerges is unrecognizable, even to the ones who once dismissed you. The truth is, every great story starts with doubt. Every leader, every creator, every innovator was told at some point that what they wanted to do couldn't be done. They were told to stop dreaming, to stop reaching, to stop trying. They were told to be realistic. But realistic is just another word for average. The ones who achieve greatness are the ones who hear those words and keep going anyway. They understand that being doubted is part of the process. It's proof that you're doing something different, something uncomfortable, something worth doing. Because if everyone agrees with you, you're not breaking any boundaries. You're just following them. The road to proving them wrong is not straight. It's filled with obstacles, failures, and long stretches of silence where nothing seems to work. You'll have days when you question yourself, when the weight of their doubt feels heavier than your belief. But those are the moments that matter most. That's when you build your strength, your character, your resilience. Every time you get back up after being knocked down, you become harder to break. Every time you keep going despite the lack of support, you build the kind of inner confidence that no one can take away. The people who said you couldn't will fade, but the strength you built in proving them wrong will stay with you forever. There will come a time when progress is invisible, when you'll be putting in the work day after day and the results still won't show. That's when the voices of doubt, both external and internal, will grow loud. You'll wonder if it's all worth it. You'll hear their words echo in your head. You're wasting your time. You'll never make it. It's too late for you. But if you can keep going through that noise, if you can keep showing up even when there's no applause, no validation, no visible success, that's when you separate yourself from everyone else. Because most people quit right before the breakthrough. Most people stop right before they would have seen the proof of their persistence. You'll learn that your best motivation doesn't come from proving them wrong. It comes from proving yourself right. Every time you overcome a challenge, every time you push through exhaustion, every time you refuse to settle, you reinforce your own belief. You stop needing their approval because you've already earned your own. The more you grow, the more you realize that their doubt wasn't an obstacle. It was a teacher. It showed you where you were strong, where you were weak, where you needed to evolve. It taught you patience, discipline, and humility. The very thing that was meant to discourage you became the force that built you. And slowly, the same people who dismissed you will begin to notice. They'll see the change, the results, the transformation. Some will pretend they always believed in you. Others will stay silent, unsure how to face the fact that they were wrong. But by then, you won't need their validation. You'll understand that what truly matters is not their opinion of you, but the person you've become in the process. You'll look back and realize that every doubt, every rejection, every failure pushed you to grow in ways comfort never could. The most powerful thing you can ever do is keep moving when no one believes in you. To trust yourself when everyone else hesitates. To show up every day, not for applause or recognition, but because you made a decision to honor your potential. Every time someone says you can't, it's an opportunity to quietly smile, nod, and keep working. Because one day, they'll look for proof that they were right, and all they'll find is evidence that you never needed them to believe in you at all.